Captive and independent. You've been on the captive side. You're now on the independent side. A lot of agents don't understand the difference here and what it means for the agent and the client. Can you explain the basics of captive versus independence on the final expense business and why one agent want to do one or the other?
Yeah. And we may have to do a part 2, Dave.
I think so.
But yeah, there is just a lot to talk about, folks. There's a lot of good stuff. Captive versus independent. Captive means you are going to sell for one company, that you are going to sell whatever product, and probably singular product, they sell. They might have multiple products, but you're not going to be able to do anything outside of that company. Now, independent, which we are, and with captive, they won't let you contract with anybody else. That's not allowed. You can only contract through them. Independent, you're a broker essentially, which means you have a wide array of carriers to choose from. We're going to be able to have niche carriers that work for just some certain health conditions. To me, the independent side is just giving your clients better options, more options. And I was captive for a good while. I sold just one product. I did fine selling one product, but you know what? I did my clients the best I could. But knowing what I know now, I did not give some of them the best alternative out there, probably. But with what I had, I gave them the best I could offer. So you can do a lot more with the broker side of it, with the independent. And it just gives you more freedom, because as you do this, you'll figure out this carrier's good for this medication. This carrier's good for this. And after a while, you built an arsenal where when you're talking to clients and underwriting them in the house, in your mind, you're knowing exactly what's best for them. And being captive, I could not always make that last statement.
Yeah, this is a really important thing that you guys have to understand. There's different ways to do business, and I'm not suggesting that captive is like immoral or bad per se, but one of the things that you have to decide, that you have to realize with insurance carriers, is they won't accept all health conditions, right? So just because somebody wants to buy doesn't mean you can get the client that particular coverage with the carrier, because they may have restrictions on medication use, like David said, health condition history, et cetera. If you're a captive agent, typically you're with one carrier, and that one carrier has a set of rules that you have to align to. If the carrier has a particular condition that's not acceptable, you may inadvertently have to put that client with a subpar product with your captive company than what you could get if you're what's called an independent or broker agent. So what we do at Duford Insurance Group for our face-to-face and telesales agents, we're brokers. That means we're not married to one company. We have access to several dozen. Now, we start our agents typically with just 3, but we add more as you start to get more experienced and get some sales under your belt. We don't want to overwhelm you with too much knowledge too soon, but we want to be in a position to where we offer our clients options. This is so important. Here's the thing. If you don't have access to multiple products, you can never guarantee that you're giving your client the best, highest value bang for their buck. And what happens in the final expense world, I don't care what anybody else says, is that you have to operate as an agent that within the next 90 days, another agent is coming behind you. They're going to sit down with your prospect, and he or she is going to try to replace your existing policy you wrote on them. And this is the point, if you didn't write the best option for the client that you can get based on a number of options you had, you're likely going to get replaced. That causes a chargeback. Now the commission you earn, you have to pay back in part, and usually not all of it, but some of it. And that is never a good thing. So what's the solution? For me, and what we operate as, it's to be a broker. It's to have a handful of companies that you can work with, so that depending on the health condition, you can assign the best carrier to that client to maximize their happiness and yours too, and to also build a proverbial wall around your client so the other agent that's going to come in the door is not able to replace the deal. Okay, has a much lower chance. Again, a lot of what you don't hear in this business, ladies and gentlemen, you hear about these big numbers of production, you hear about these great people writing all sorts of business, but what you never hear is the follow-up from those agents about the business they lost due to replacements or writing inferior policies. Okay, and a large part of that happening is based off of what you sell or what you don't sell, inferior product choice. Okay, so what we recommend, and this is why we do it at Duford Insurance Group, is as new final expense agents, only work as a broker, only work with agencies that are independent. Okay, you may even have a great sales system with a one product solution, but you're opening yourself up to Pandora's box of all sorts of problems that come from a one trick pony approach to business. There's some benefits to it. It's simpler. You don't have a bunch of carriers to worry about, but there's a lot of long-term consequences you got to be aware of. Okay. Yeah, very, very, very important. David, you want to add to that here? Got about 5 minutes.
Yeah, one thing I did forget real quick, return on investment. You don't hear those numbers from those companies either.
Yes, that's what really matters. It's the production is a measurement of success, but it's not the income. We have cost of doing business. Carriers pay different commissions based off if you write level or guaranteed issue. There's chargebacks that you got to assume you got to account for in your planning. Our goal for our agents is to have a 4-to-1 return on investment. So for example, if they're brokers and they're not in our free lead program, we do have a free lead program that a lot of agents look into and consider for face-to-face. But if you're a broker, for every dollar you put in to your leads, we want you to get $4 in revenue. So if you put $50,000 over a year, our goal based on our training, coaching, and development of you is to bring back $200,000 in revenue for a net income after expenses for around $150,000. Now, some agents are better than that. Some agents are worse than that. We don't really like anything less than 3-to-1 return on investment. But 4-to-1 is a good goal. It's healthy, it's scalable, and it's a significant income.